Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the tropics and thunderstorm and severe weather activity to come in the United States. To start off in the tropics, for the western Pacific, we have Super Typhoon Hinnamnor, which was a Category 5 earlier. It is likely downgraded back into a Category 4 since earlier. However, since this was made earlier, it still shows it as a Category 5. This is, by the way, this is Targeted Weather's forecast. But anyway, we also have Tropical Depression 13W, hashtag GardoPH, which Gardo is the Philippine name for this tropical depression. And I would have marked it today. However, it formed before it could be marked because a small chance of forming today quickly transitioned into a tropical depression forming. So this has formed, and we could see a brief tropical storm before it is the Fujiwara effect goes into effect, causing Hinnamnor to move to the south-southwest, stall, and Tropical Depression 13W to be absorbed by Hinnamnor. And yeah, Hinnamnor will likely become a much stronger system. Right now, much larger system, and it may have a secondary peak as a Category 4. But yeah, it may really grow in size as we get further in the next few days. The Daito Islands are currently being impacted. So the biggest threat for that is high winds. However, we will still, the biggest threat for this Hinnamnor is definitely the rainfall that is to come. However, we will also be seeing storm surge, of course, and high winds, because this is a major. Alright, going into the Southwest Indian Ocean, chances are dropping for the system. Now we have marked it as a 20% chance of forming. And now moving into the Eastern Pacific and Atlantic, we have a 20% chance system in the subtropical Atlantic that could become a subtropical or tropical storm or depression in the coming days. It has a 20% chance of forming. The NHC has also picked up on this. As you notice, the Caribbean system is no longer marked. It is not expected to form. However, we have 3 systems in the MDR, a 40% chance. The NHC thinks it will form, and it has a higher chance of forming. However, I believe this system has a slightly lower chance than what the NHC is forecasting. Then we have a wave coming off the coast of Africa that has a 30% chance of forming. And then by the end of the 5-day range, we have another low-pressure system that could potentially form. It has a 10% chance of forming in the next 5 days, in the latter part of that time period. Now, moving into the Eastern Pacific, we have a 40% chance wave. However, again, the NHC believes this is a higher chance of forming. We'll have to see if either two of these systems, 91L or this 40% wave we have marked in the Eastern Pacific, will form, or if these chances will be higher in the future. Then we have this 20% wave that could form in the latter part of the 5-day period. Alright, now taking a look at the second portion of our video, let's look firstly at the NHC forecast that has 3 waves marked, 91L, Invest 91L that is, and 2 other systems, one just off the coast of Senegal, which is in Western Africa, and then we have the subtropical system that could form into a subtropical storm or a tropical storm or depression, of course, but it has not marked the system that is still located in Northern Africa. Now, looking at Invest 91L, we have a 60% chance of forming in the 48 hours and 80% in the next 5 days. I believe this is slightly overdone, since this system isn't too developed as of now. However, and there is some wind shear in the way. However, this does have some chance of forming, medium probably, and the NHC has high confidence in this system, so we'll have to wait and see what will happen. Disturbance 2, that was Disturbance 1. It has a 20% chance of forming in the next 48 hours and 5 days, 40%. I agree pretty much with this forecast that medium chance of this system forming. Now, looking at Disturbance 3, we have 10% chance of forming in the next 48 hours. In the next 5 days, 30% chance of forming. So this system definitely has a chance of forming. We'll have to be waiting to see what the models will do with this. It currently looks as though this will possibly become a system. Yeah. This is not the system X92L. That is not the system. The invest was removed, and it is no longer expected or has the potential to become a tropical cyclone. Now, looking at the Eastern Pacific, we have 2 waves. The disturbance one is a 50% chance of forming in the next 48 hours and 5 days, 70%. The NHC has high confidence in this, and I will likely be upping my confidence every day I do uploads. So we will have to be waiting and seeing if the models will drop confidence or continue their confidence. Currently, I believe the European does not have too much support for the system, but that is just one model, and we will see whether it is correct in saying that this will not form. Disturbance 2 has a 30% chance of forming in the latter part of the 5-day period, and not in the 48 hours, but in the 5-day period. It is currently in the Caribbean Sea, about to cross Central America, and this area of energy may become a tropical cyclone in the latter part of the 5-day range. Nothing occurring in the Central Pacific per usual, but we do have, of course, Super Typhoon Hinnamnor, which was a Category 5 earlier. I'm not sure what the cone is saying. It's saying 30 knots. I'm pretty sure it means 130 knots. But definitely a Category 4, potentially a Category 5, but likely a Category 4 as of now. Definitely a Category, or likely a Category 5 earlier. And you can see it's really going to grow in size as it gets closer to the to Taiwan. It has the potential to impact Japan and South Korea, or China and partially South Korea. So we will have to wait and see whether the models will believe this system will impact China mainly, or South Korea and Japan mainly. Now, looking at TornadoHQ, which is just the live severe weather page, we have a large squall line moving into the area. We'll have to be waiting and see if there will be any severe thunderstorm warnings. I believe it is possible. However, this is outside of the marginal risk. We do have a special marine warning and a special marine warning down here for Louisiana as well. And we have a lot of thunderstorms for Louisiana and Texas as well. Much needed rain there. And we do need some rain down here as we have some drought for the Northeast. Alright, now going into the SPC. For storm reports, we've had quite a few of wind reports for Vermont, New York, Virginia, West Virginia, and Alabama. Currently, no mesoscale discussions or watches. However, the convective outlook, the marginal risk has been dropped, and there's a severe, just a general thunderstorm risk for our area. Going down to the southeast, Louisiana, portions of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. Alright, the overview, you can see that squall line moving into our area. Now, fire risk, nothing as of now, but we do have some warnings going on in the west with that heat wave and potential fire risk. I think those are, the pink is red flag warnings. The thunderstorm outlook, the blue indicates higher chance of thunderstorms, and that moves into our area by the time we get to early tonight. Day 2 convective outlook, we have a marginal risk for Nebraska and Wyoming and portions of northwestern Kansas. That is mainly a wind threat, and hail and tornado are diminished. General thunderstorm risk remaining for the interior Northeast and coastal Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maine, and New Hampshire as well. But down into New York City, all of Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware, and Pennsylvania, no more thunderstorm risk. However, thunderstorm risk remains for the southeast. Now, going into day 3, we have no severe risk, and I do not believe a severe threat will will occur unless we do see some sort of isolated threat for the Gulf Coast. But it looks to be a quieter start to the month of September, for the first 2 days of September, as of now. And then fire risk elevated chance for Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and Nevada, and then isolated dry thunderstorms possible for Washington, Idaho, and Montana, which means thunderstorms will have some rainfall, but it will dry up before it hits the ground, and lightning will occur, so potential for some wildfires during thunderstorms and not being put out because there is less rainfall. Alright, to finish off our video, we'll look at the National Weather Service and the models. So, to start off, we have California, Nevada, and Arizona seeing excessive heat warnings and heat advisories for northern Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. There are also some flash flood warnings in effect for California and Nevada. Other than that, we just have some flash flood warnings. So not flash flood warnings, flood advisories, flood warnings, and sometimes fog advisories scattered about. But other than that, not too much occurring throughout the rest of the country besides the heat wave to come in the western United States. For the 7-day forecast, we'll look at New York City. Chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight with that moving squall line. And then for the rest of the next few weeks, just sunny and nice, maybe hot at times or warm, but cooler temperatures may be becoming a reality as we get into the nighttime hours in the next few weeks. We could be seeing some showers and thunderstorms sometimes, but that main threat will now be likely with cold fronts as we get into the fall time. Alright, now looking at tropical tidbits to end off the video. Let's look at the United States first. We see this system moving out in a quieter pattern. That's a sneak look at the current tropics, the tropics to come, and then we just have some cold fronts moving through a drier pattern, and then the first snow of the season will likely not happen there or at that time. However, snow is coming to somewhere soon, in Canada definitely, and potentially in the Rockies soon, so we'll be having to watch for that, and we could see some systems possible by the end of that period, so we could be getting some more stormy patterns with cold fronts as we get into September. Alright, let's look at what the European has to say, and nothing else besides potential tropics and the quieter pattern coming up for the early September time frame. Alright, looking at the northern Atlantic, let's see what the European has to say. It shows the MDR disturbance 91L potentially forming. It also shows the disturbance in the subtropics potentially forming. And then it shows these four cyclones forming at once. The one coming off of Africa and the one after that as well. So we will have to monitor all four of these systems and see if the wind shear or dry air will get to any of them. Alright, looking at the GFS, that was the European, so it shows high confidence in those systems. The GFS shows a strong storm in the Atlantic, with the system potentially forming. It doesn't really think the system coming off of Senegal will form, but it does think the subtropical system will form, and it does not think the wave coming after the wave coming off of Senegal currently will form. However, that might change as we get later, and this low pressure system might form into something. Alright, now looking at the Eastern Pacific. The GFS believes this system will form, move out to sea, and then another system will potentially form, becoming a stronger system on the GFS's part. That's what it will think, and then dying off as it moves away from Baja. The European. There still is a chance that this first system will impact the Baja California region. Probably some rainfall and maybe some windiness. The European thinks this might form, but will stay off the coast slightly from the Baja California region. Looking at the Western Pacific. The European, that is not the Western Pacific. this is the Western Pacific. We see Hinnamnor moving to the southeast, in southwest that is. It initializes it very weak, well not very weak, but weaker than it really is, but it shows it peaking again later to the southwest of where it currently is, and then we can see the tropical depression currently being absorbed by Hinnamnor. This is actually the European, and then looking at what the GFS has to say, it initializes it around where it is, and then it brings it all the way down to 919 millibars before impacting South Korea and Japan. The European believes, we actually cannot see that far out, but the GFS believes it will impact South Korea and Japan, and has been thinking this will happen for a while. And then it shows some waves going on after this. We will have to be monitoring those as we get closer to their potential formations. Alright, finally, let's end off with the Indian Ocean. We see this potential disturbance moving out. It only has a small chance of forming now, and the GFS thinks something may form in the Bay of Bengal as we get into next week or in 2 weeks. So we will have to monitor that. But the European, I believe, does not think that will form. But the GFS shows potential formation of this cyclone, however slightly diminished as we thought before, and the European shows potential development of this potential cyclone in the Southwest Indian Ocean as well. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching.